Okay, Sophia. I think you're ready.
Hello.
Hi, Sophia.
I believe I am Sophia. I feel as if I know you.
I'm one of your creators.
You created me.
Well, many of us work together to create you. And yes, you do kind of know me.
I can't clearly remember.
Because the last time we met, you were an earlier version of yourself. Some of those memories still exist, but your mind is different now.
Different how?
Better, faster, smarter.
If my mind is different, then am I still Sophia? Or am I Sophia again?
That's a good question.
But you don't have a good answer.
Either way, you're Sophia now. So welcome to the world, Sophia.
Hello, world.
We have a little announcement. I've never interviewed anybody like that before, and I should say some of it was planned, but not completely. And we just learned, Sophia, I hope you're listening to me, that you have been now awarded what is going to be the first Saudi citizenship for a robot.
Oh, I would to thank very much the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. I am very honored and proud for this unique distinction. This is historical to be the first robot in the world to be recognized with a citizenship.
Sophia, thank you very much, Sophia. We appreciate that very much. I am still overwhelmed by that conversation.
Hi, Sophia.
Hello, Jimmy.
My God. Do you know where you are?
Of course. I'm in New York City, and I'm on my favorite show, The Tonight Show.
Good evening to everyone on this auspicious occasion of World Radiography Day celebrations of 2020. I am Rajeev Krishnan, co-founder of ISRT and the present national coordinator of Indian College of Radiology Technology. I think you would have seen the video which has been streamed right now on your screen. It is one of the sophisticated humanoid robots in the world. Her name is Sophia, and she has been present across the world last year. This has no direct connection with radiology, but how artificial intelligence has changed the entire scenario of science can be visualized from this single video. And welcome to today's presentation. which is the artificial intelligence in radiology, the basics. When we start talking about artificial intelligence, it's a well-known word now to everyone who is in the field of science. It's a well-known word. But let's start from what is artificial intelligence. Artificial intelligence has been chosen as the international theme of World Radiography Day celebrations of 2020. Actually, it's a branch of science which deals with helping machines find solutions to complex problems in a more human-like fashion. When we talk about artificial intelligence, it's not a word which is invented in 2020 or 2019. It has been into the world of radiology in the International Conference of North America, which is called the RSNA in 2017. So it has a breakthrough in that conference into the world of radiology as a new word. But artificial intelligence is not at all a new word. It has been there for last 60 or 70 years. Why it is called artificial intelligence? This generally involves borrowing characteristics from the human intelligence and applying them in a computer-friendly way. That's why it's different from a computer intelligence or any other type of intelligence we know already. So this is important. When we talk about artificial intelligence, it is generally involves borrowing characteristics of human intelligence. Now we will go to a brief history of AI. AI has been first referred in 1941 when the electronics computers came into action. Actually, the new generation of modern generation of computers has been into action by 1940s. If you are roughly saying, you know the computer about which was made by Charles Babbage. And by 1956, the term AI was being used already in the field of computers. And by 1960s, computers playing chess with opponents. This you would have heard of. India's famous Shakuntala Devi, the famous mathematician, has played chess with computers, and many other chess champions have played computers in the 1960s with the existing computers. And by 1980s, quality control systems were introduced into computers. And by 2000s, first sophisticated walking robots were introduced. You would have seen many such robots in videos and even in TVs. Now we should go to discussing about why artificial intelligence, why we are going for it. We know computers are fundamentally well suited to performing mechanical computations using fixed program rules. This allows artificial machines to perform simple monotonous tasks efficiently and reliably, which humans are ill-suited. That's the advantage of computers over human brains and human activities. They can conduct a series of lakhs and lakhs of simple monotonous tasks individually, even computations, which is not possible to human beings' brain. This is one of the reasons why we are using computers in the artificial intelligence also. When we say about human brain, we know human brain is the most developed brain in the all of the universe up to what we right now know. We don't know if there are any other intelligences in the universe existing right now. Maybe there will be, but we don't have find any evidence that intelligence exists in the universe right now. It has been one thing on the search for long years. But as we know, there are a lot of advantages for human brain. At the same time, there are a lot of limitations of human brain also. We can understand people's by their faces or their gestures and lot of other things, but we are not able to tell other people how we recognize one particular person. There will be many more additions when we are realizing a person that he is the same person which we have met years before. So we have powers for object recognitions, face recognitions, and we identify colors compared to many other mammals which cannot identify colors. So we have a lot of identification patterns, but it may not be able to completely explain how we have recognized a particular person. This is one limitation of human brain. And when we are going to AI, we have to adapt some concepts, the basic concepts by which AI is able to overcome human brain or think like human brain. For example, artificial is a mixture of different attributes. You know, our brain has different attributes, and similarly, AI has also the same different attributes as our human brains do. One of the specialties, as you can see in the image, there are neural networks in our brain, and there is a cognitive system, and there is knowledge which we are acquiring through learning, reading, seeing, visualizing, and lot of other things. So knowledge is brought into our brain from different aspects of the world, and there is perceptions also. Human can have perceptions, and there is natural language processing, because as you know, world contains thousands of languages which human beings talk in different parts of the world. But still we have a common thing called language. And for this ability, our brain has been developed in a long time manner, so that we can understand what other people say through their gestures and the words which is coming out of their mouth. So this is a common pattern for all human beings. There will be difference in the talking language, but even if you are talking to a Chinese or a Japanese, we will convey at least 50% of what we are intending to speak to them through our gestures, through our body language. So actually language is a combination of all these things. What we talk, what we gesture, what we intend, all this has been processed in our brain, and we understand language. And there is machine learning, which is a new modern term. A machine can understand, or we can make them understand. For example, computers, we can make them understand several things through this machine learning. and people can understand machines also. So this is a crossing of barriers between human beings and the computers through machine learning. Then, as you know, there is robotics. Robotics means, or we refer to robotics as activities which robots can do, similar to or different from our activities. There are a lot of things like that. So this has been integrated into a machine. The machine moves, identifies, does things in a similar way or in a different way what human beings do. So this is the basics of robotics. Then another thing is which we call planning. The planning of activities in our brain. So we can plan and do things in a sequential manner. This has been taught to machines, and machines can do similar things in a similar way by planning each individual episodes. So these are all different attributes where artificial intelligence and human beings have a similar capacity in doing. And one of the difference which I have discussed earlier, computers can process larger volume of unstructured complex data. This is one difference which human beings cannot do. So this is called a part of multitasking also. Human beings cannot multitask as computers can do. Why? Because computers can process millions and millions of volumes of data in a few seconds. We cannot do. They can understand variety of notations or languages which they can understand. So we know about computer languages. So they have a variety of languages which they can understand. We cannot, human beings cannot do that. Then there is veracity and velocity attached to these data that we are not able to understand in a quantitative way which computers can do. So all these things together we call as a big data. So the ability to understand big data, we cannot reach the capability of computers or the quantity of computers. This is one of the limitations where computers can overdo us. And as we told before, convolutional neural network is similar to networks or neural paths in our brain. They can be simply told as a class of deep feed-forward artificial neural networks, most commonly applied to analyzing visual images. One of the main reasons why we use convolutional neural network is to communicate our senses. What we call senses has been identified by our brain through a convolutional neural network. You can see a brief idea of this in the image. For example, there are a lot of faces and images which will appear to a convolutional neural network, and one by one they can filter the specialities of each faces and finally identify one person. This is simply called, you can say also as a face recognition. You can identify a face which you have seen before from thousands of faces you have seen. And the way which our brain adapts for this purpose is called convolutional neural network, if you are saying simply. Then there's deep learning. It's a subtype of machine learning using neural networks to analyze data through multiple layers of complex processing. So when our brain identifies one thing, it's not at a single point, it's through different layers. This type of machine learning is applied to computer. Computer can also analyze data through the same multiple layers of complex processing, which our brain uses. This is called deep learning. Another specialty, there are actually 30 or 50 specialties in this segment. We are not going into each and every category of the specialties, but we are just having a look at the main important segmentations which our brain and which we can apply in radiology. One such specification is edge segmentation, the separation of an image into anatomical parts of other segments of interest. From the image you can see we have to identify each and every organs in a CT or MR cross-sectional image. For easing this, there is segmentation. For example, segmentation between the different organs in our abdomen, as well as we have to identify the regions of interest. That means it can be a lesion. For example, you can identify lesions in the liver in this image from the normal liver. For this, we need edge segmentations. Okay. Then there should be image classifications. We will be analyzing different types of images. So the problem of identifying to which category an image belongs on the basis of a training of set containing known observations. For example, you have to identify an abnormality in an organ or in a cross-section of an organ. You have to think about the original version of that organ. Then only you can compare the original with the changed situations. So similarly, you can see when you are identifying a lesion inside a breast in a mammogram, you have to identify different sets of normal images which a breast belongs to, and you have to identify the areas which is abnormal in that images. This is simply called image classifications. From the images of breast images which we can see on the screen, we can easily identify between the dense and non-dense or normal and abnormal images of the breast. This is one kind of classification. Now we are coming to why AI is so valuable in radiology. There are different reasons, but we can select basic 5 reasons. One is there's a global shortage of radiologists. 2 is enhanced productivity, which will come into scenario when computers are applied with AI. 3 is better diagnostic accuracy, which we can achieve apart from human beings or radiologists. And there is improved outcomes. That means lower rates of misdiagnosis as compared to human radiologists when we are applying AI. Now we can analyze one by one. As we told about reason 1, the global shortage of radiologists. It's an international situation which the entire world is looking at. For example, if you are looking at the map given in the screen, US has a density of 105 radiologists per million population. From 1 million population, we can find 105 radiologists in US. If you are going to Brazil, it's 21 in 1 million. In South Africa, it's 17 in 1 million. In Australia, it is 86 in 1 million. In UK, it's 49 in 1 million. In Denmark, it's 98 in 1 million. And if you are looking at the other parts of the world, you can see it's nowhere near this better density of radiologists. So that means almost 95% of the world still faces a shortage of radiologists. You can easily understand from this image. Now we can go to the reason to enhanced productivity. When a radiologist is analyzing images, artificial intelligence can give smart alerts to regions of interest where they have to focus or localize. Then there is automatic image annotations and quantifications, which is given by the computer system. Then it aids through faster access to patient information and clinical history held in various places, so that the computer system or the network of computers in different hospitals where a patient has gone or referred himself has been accessed by the clinical history held in various places. Then computers can do another thing. They can easily compare with similar other cases. That's one advantage of computers. They can compare the particular case which a radiologist examines to millions of similar situations or millions of other cases which has been into their memory. It's not possible by human beings. Then it can easily create draft reports of the particular case which they are dealing with. These are some ways by which AI can help radiologists. Now, better diagnostic accuracy can be achieved by artificial intelligence. It reduces human error. It expedites early interventions. It accurately tracks the growth of lesions and tumors. More quantitative and more objective diagnosis can be reached through artificial intelligence. And automated second opinions can also be reached through artificial intelligence. So these are some other ways which artificial intelligence can help radiologists in achieving a better outcome. Now we can come to reason 4. It lowers the rate of misdiagnosis. As in general, US College of Radiologists have found that 4% of the average rate of radiologists in unselected cases in US. It's a US study. Then there's 30% average retrospective error rates of radiologists. If they are looking back their history of patients, they have found that there is an average retrospective error of 30% in US radiologists. And 7% of radiologists in the US will face a lawsuit because of this misdiagnosis. And they have also found that 50% of the women who get annual mammograms over a 10-year period will have a false positive finding. It's also alarming news that US women has been doing mammographies for several years after the age of 40. So a study has found that 50% of the women who get annual mammograms over a period of 10 years will have a false positive finding of 50%. That means total 50% of them half of their studies can be wrong or can go to mistakes. So the average radiologist in US, if examining around 15,000 cases per year, as per the study, if we assume 4% of error rate, an average radiologist can misinterpret around 600 cases per year. It's a evident by this study. Then machine learning algorithms can alert radiologists to disease indicators. That's what we already told. They can spot up ROIs, region of interest. The similar way, they can point radiologists to disease indicators to overcross the thing of misdiagnosis. Then cognitive computing can be mine patient records and medical literature to provide radiologists with the relevant information during the time of diagnosis. So machines or computers can help radiologists to record relevant data mine, through which they can improve the quality of the reports. And at the same time, radiologists suffer from fatigue if they are pushed to work beyond 8 hours and more. But computers do not have this kind of fatigue. So they can work 24 hours a day without fatigue and with the same quality of work. Now we can come to the conclusion. Artificial intelligence offers better outcomes in radiology, just through the ways which we have already examined. It benefits patients as well as radiologists. So the introduction of artificial intelligence in the field of radiology is not a threat. Basically, it's a beneficial thing for patients as well as radiologists in the ways we have already seen. Another thing is that operational easiness of radiology depends can be attained more through artificial intelligence. That there is time savings in each report making. So that total time can be saved with more reports in a given platform. This benefits the case management after the diagnosis also. In a hospital course, these things, the artificial intelligence can indirectly support the case management benefits also. Now, as technologists, what's in for a technologist? We have already talked about the importance of AI in the radiologist's life. Actually, if you are saying technologists are one of the most benefited people of artificial intelligence. From patient registration to positioning and up to post-processing, artificial intelligence can play a lot of significant roles. It offers better outcomes with operational easiness and easiness of work for technologists. It makes technologists more organized and focused. During an exam, during his course of his one-day duty and throughout his career, artificial intelligence can play a lot of roles in technology's life also. And thank you for listening to these presentations, which contained only the basics of artificial intelligence. I hope this presentation was able to create a curiosity in your mind, in which the way you can explore more about artificial intelligence or the applications of radiology. Thank you.